So get up. Top of the morning to ya.
Good morning, everyone. 33 minutes after the hour. Welcome to the Sunrise Show. Craig Fronikin and special guest this morning, Dr. Mark Christian with the Global Faith Institute. He's very busy. He's created the Global Faith Institute. He's an OBGYN doctor and an MD. And then when he realized the disconnect in America, he started the Global Faith Institute, and it's really having some effect because, quite frankly, Americans don't understand the issues going on with the Middle East and the Islam ideology. And Dr. Mark Christian, it's great to have on the program this morning. Now that this weekend, the Iranian deal came through, they had hostages released. It's very interesting, but the world economy, this $150 billion released into the world economy, a lot of it's going to go to Europe, a lot of it's going to go unbeknownst wherever Iran wants to spend it. What is Iran's next move?
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to all your listeners.
Yeah.
The victory of President Obama's prisoner swap and also the release of the sailors is definitely a victory on his political agenda and political side, and is helping definitely Hillary Clinton big time. If anybody had the time to watch the debate last night, she did not have any kind of time to waste to talk about her presidency is going to be an extension to the success of President Obama. So they are playing in the same court, and they are kind of throwing softballs at each other. And definitely it is a great thing that we got the prisoners back and being released. But and this is a huge big hit to the Republican people who are running for president this time. All of that is true, but we have to look at a couple of things from that, and definitely, if the opponents secured a victory, we have to understand that they did it, but we have to look at something else. When President Obama is doing what he's doing, he's using his political power to, as a president, with all the efforts that he has and all the tools that he has in his hand as the President of the United States of America at this point, to help a candidate on his Democratic pole. And this is what he did. The other thing is, right now, America became all of a sudden neck to neck with the Iranians. The Iranians look at the United States right now not as the major power, but they look at the United States that they are equal, that the United States and Iran is equal. They are going to get a better deal out of all of this. They're going to get $150 billion. They also get 7 prisoners instead of, in the return of 5. They are emerging as a superpower, all of a sudden.
That's exactly right, the superpower, yep.
What's that?
No, what you were saying is exactly right, is that now they're going to be looked at as a superpower, and it's been pretty bad the way they've conducted themselves.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's an absolute shame. Yeah.
What President Obama is looking at a victory, which is a victory. I'm not going to say anything wrong about that. Returning 5 Americans to the United States after long years of being imprisoned is a victory. But what they got in return is $150 billion, a way to secure the nuclear kind of program, and also they got 7 prisoners back. And what they got is a recognition for the United States of America as an equal power or a legitimate power in the Middle East. And that's very, very bad by itself. And this is definitely going to, Israel, you ask about Israel. Israel is not want to throw in any kind of comments at this point, and I applaud them for that, because if you say anything at this point in time, you will look like you're against the freeing of the prisoners. And if you say something weird, then you're legitimizing what President Obama did. So they are kind of keeping it quiet and silent at this point, and this is the best thing to do. What is happening in the Middle East is, one, the market is in a free fall right now. $29 billion has been wiped in the first minutes of opening of the stock market in the Middle East, and that is going to put a huge big problems with the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and all the Gulf countries, which are trying their best to be on the side of America. And those Sunni governments superpowers over the Middle East, not in the whole world, but in the Middle East, they are looking like America right now that is pulling the plug off their support to them, and this is going to open a crazy war in the Middle East. Even if it's not if it's going to be a cold war in the Middle East, it might be worse than that. And why Americans should be worried? Because this means that this is going to overflow over here in America in the West. When the Middle East is in a crazy war and bloodshed, America is not very far from being touched by the craziness of the war in the Middle East.
Well, it is. And then here's the next thing related to the oil. I mean, oil hit an all-time low I think it was either Friday or whatever, dipped down below $30 a barrel. And I know that Iran, just like Russia, needs oil to be at $100 a barrel. And the Saudis, they're just pushing this oil and keeping the oil price down. They're trying to put the whole fracking thing out of business. So you're wondering, wow, it's fascinating from the standpoint of what really is going on with the oil shipping, the price, the economy. Go ahead.
Maybe I would love to explain to you something about the oil thing is actually far complicated, more than you think.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me explain to you a couple of things. You know, many people in America, in the West, thinking that the oil prices are going down because the fracking business and because the competition between Saudi Arabia and America on the oil prices and so forth. And, you know, maybe they have a point, but I do have a different point, completely different from that. The oil has been used by President Obama and his administration to put so much pressure on Russians.
Right.
You mentioned earlier, a minute ago, that the oil is very, very important and crucial for the existence and the sustaining of the Russian economy and the Iranians, right?
Yes.
And if President Obama wants to put any pressure on the Russians, then he will deny them the profit that's come out from the oil. Is that kind of a simple logic?
By having a low price.
Yes. If you
Right.
get the price low, then that will put so much pressure and kind of brakes on the economy in Russia, and Russia would be in a very bad place, more than even sanctions that you can put on them. And the President Putin will be so embarrassed in front of his people that he cannot sustain his country. Is that sounds right?
Well, absolutely. What they're saying is, and for folks who are tuning in, Putin's investments and their whole economy is based off of the price of oil. So when the price is high, they do great. When the price is low, they don't do very well at all. And that's exactly what's been happening.
And this is why the Russian economy is in a free fall since the oil prices start going down. And we cannot, deny the fact that Saudi Arabia, is depending on oil as well. Is that true?
I would think so. I would think that that's their big
So
selling point.
Let's walk this one step at a time. So for Saudi Arabia, it is very important to keep the oil prices as high as they can, so they can sustain their economy and keeping their gold-plated toilet seats and everything that they enjoy, right?
Exactly right, yes.
So you have a big question mark. Why Saudi Arabia, that is benefiting from the oil prices, will continue for the last year and a half to dump oil in the market and bring the oil prices down? Isn't that a question, Mark?
Well, it is. I think what it is that they don't want the competition from the fracking, knowing that they have more and they've got plenty where this came from. They'll let for a few months, they'll let the oil drop to put frackers and
That sounds feasible, but in reality, it is not. The Saudis are not looking for the future that they will drive the market down to the point that the fracking will go out of business, because here is the thing. The fracking is not something that you will shut the factory and it will go away. The fracking will continue. So if the Saudis drive the price down to the limit that the fracking business get out of went bankruptcy and they will shut it down, then that's fine, right? But the problem is, as soon as the prices go up again, there is somebody who will buy out the fracking business and will start again. So it is not looking like a feasible thing. Do you agree with me on that?
So far, so good. Yes, sir. Because so then next, what's the next move?
So why Saudi Arabia is driving the prices down? Here is the big question. Is it because they want to get out the fracking business out of the bankrupt? Well, This does not make any sense because the fracking business is not a factory that will close and leave. It's an industry that will continue for ages. All what it needs is the prices to go up a little bit, above $50 a barrel, and then they will be profitable. So even if you drive it to the bankruptcy limit, as soon as the prices go up, the fracking business will go back up again. So what is Saudi Arabia is trying to do with driving the price down? It is the same thing that America wants to do, which is the current administration of the United States of America, which is President Obama. What is it that they want to do, both of them, is to kick out Putin out of power in Russia. How do you do that? By driving their economy to the bankruptcy level. President Putin, will be in a very bad shape, and he will be forced to resign and leave the country and the leadership of the country of Russia. And why they want to do that? Because President Putin is on the other side of Obama. He is opposing Obama's initiatives in the Middle East.
Well, and he also has been supporting Syria. So to get Syria taken care of and Bashar, Putin's not going to be able to helping him so much if his country's falling apart.
You got it. So exactly, the oil prices are going down because they want to put so much pressure on the Russians to, can restrain their economy and make them less influential in the Middle East and in Syria and all the initiatives of changing the regimes of the Middle East. This is exactly what's going on. And here is something that happened. Why I'm driving all of this? Because I want you to understand something. What the Iranians did, just yesterday, is they start playing the game as well. They start, even though they need the money from the oil, but because they get $150 billion in, removing all the sanctions on them, they start throwing oil in the market as well. The Iranians are throwing market in the oil.
They had all their tankers, right? They had all their tankers lined up to sell. So what's that going to do to the price of oil? Drop it even further?
It is now a cold war between the Iranians and the Saudis. The Iranians said, the Saudis are trying to bankrupt Russia. You know what? We will bankrupt you. And what is that going to affect the market? The market in the Middle East and the market in America is going to be losing every day more and more because of this Cold War going on between the Iranians and the Saudis.
Unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. Mark, we've got to get to a break and then let's come back. We ran long, but that was fascinating. Everyone that just tuned in, Dr. Mark Christian from the Global Faith Institute has a profound way of looking at things, only from the standpoint he's from Egypt, but he's born-again Christian, moved to the United States in 2005 and started the Global Faith Institute, theglobalfaithinstitute.org. Got to get there and check some of that out. We'll be right back. More on The Sunrise Show on News Radio 880 KCMX. We'll take your calls as well, 541-772-8255. Back after this break. Good morning, everyone. 52 minutes after the hour. Welcome back to the Sunrise Show. We ran long in that first segment. It was fantastic with Dr. Mark Christian, but we're continuing on, from the Global Faith Institute. You got to get to the website, globalfaithinstitute.org. And Dr. Christian, with all of this going on, what does this mean for Americans now watching as the, foreign markets, and you called it a Cold War in the Middle East with this oil, because now Iran, they've got their oil now that they can ship out and sell, and it's legal for European countries to buy, and they've already got contracts going on with the Iranians, so they've got to be thrilled, even though the oil price is so bad.
Yes, and we should not be happy. Yes, definitely it's good to have the oil prices going down the way they are, and we don't have to pay much at the pump. But this that's increasing a huge, big problem, in the world economy altogether.
It's so American. I mean, anybody with any kind of fleets, airlines, trains, buses, public transportation, the trucking, that's a huge piece there for trucking, and the money that they've been spending on fuel is now going to be in their pockets, so their profits should go up. But what that really means for American companies and the foreign economy, I guess it'll be left to be seen, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, and it's interesting, I wish the prices will go down a little bit with the flying, and the flying tickets and so forth. It's not. It'll continue going up. So it's very interesting. I don't know why they are keeping the prices up like that.
Exactly. In our last couple of minutes, Dr. Mark Christian with the Global Faith Institute, what's happening next? We had the Democrat debate last night. There was not really any national security policy. They stayed completely away from that. They're just kind of beating each other up, mainly because of the caucuses there in Iowa. What did you see with that, Mark?
I think it was a big defeat to the whole Republican candidates, and they start kind of fighting with each other over the boots of Rubio or the whatever they fight over. It is not good. I wish they can get their game together and get united and try to focus on the real issues and try to not to serve on people's emotions, but try to bring some kind of solutions. This is the only way if they want to be able to have any success in the presidential election. I think it's very important to focus on the issues and not to focus on the issues without providing solutions and try to just to, I was seeing Chris Christie on TV a little bit ago on Fox News, and everything he said, it is about how Obama is bad. People want to see how you're going to be good.
Right.
I think that the things that the Americans want to hear and to see is how you're going to make a difference, not how everybody else is bad.
Well, and that's why Trump has gravitated. I mean, he's Make America Great Again, and he's pushing why that is, and people are listening to it, and they're hopeful. It was interesting. Ed Henry said last night, related to the Democrat debate, he said it was fizzle instead of sizzle. They really just kind of fizzled out, and you wonder what is that going to do for Americans? And they just kind of went back and forth, and the whole political process right now seems to be this. They're all upside down. To Trump, and Ted Cruz as an outsider, and Dr. Ben Carson as an outsider. Everyone's freaked out right now. You wonder where the voting is going to start, and it'll be very interesting. Iowa coming up February 1st, and then New Hampshire right after that, and what that tells a lot of folks be very, very interesting.
Yes.
Well,
and. So what's going on at your state? How the weather is good.
Well, we got hit. We got hit with flooding and things like that. But the legislature is going to start February 1st or 2nd for a 33-day short session, and they've already started coming out with a gun bill. And it's just unbelievable to think that more gun control is going to work. A lot like with Georgia, they've come up with this emergency 21-day hold on being able to buy a weapon. If you're a danger to yourself or anyone else, then they'll make this where you won't have an ability to buy a weapon. And
isn't that going to do nothing other than making the black market flourish and to be more expensive? Because. Making drugs illegal did not stop people using drugs and dying from overdose. And I think, I don't think this is going to do anything good to the criminal, trying to kill others. I don't think so. I don't know if you think that or not.
No, well, you're absolutely right. What's happening is it's now forcing citizens that are law-abiding citizens to just have more regulation. The criminal element has not going to change, nor has it changed, nor will it change with any of these. And you don't allow the law enforcement community to do anything to enforce these laws to get after criminals with the illegal sales of guns. So it's just.
And this is the kind of argument that the progressive and the Democrats are not able to carry or understand. It's like it's an easy to say, oh, you don't need better regulations. Are you not upset about what happened in the mass shooting that has been going on? And yes, I'm not happy about the mass shooting. I'm grieving over the people who lost their lives and the kids who lost their life. But I want to find a solution, not just a political agenda that be pushed. And this is the problem. I can share with you an experience I had also, yesterday on Sunday. There is a couple of churches right now, and actually there is a lot of them in the country, inviting Muslim speakers to come into the church to talk about Islam and how awesome it is and great it is and so forth. So whenever I have the choice or the chance, I go and listen to those Muslim leaders and what they are telling to the church and the church youth. The problem with that is actually the imam yesterday at the church was not only speaking to the main congregation, he was actually allowed to speak to the kids. So he went to the Sunday school for all the kids to talk about Islam. And he's telling them a whole bunch of things that Islam is an awesome religion, it's a religion of peace, and all that kind of stuff. And he is lying in the face of the kids. And what makes me grieving is the people who are progressive, not really, offended in any way, but what the Muslim is telling their kids. I find it very weird that there is lots of parents over there letting their kids sit in the audience listening to this stuff and how Islam is great and so forth, and they don't think even ahead that what happens if my kids become a Muslim right now?
Oh,
is that really what I want to do? They don't need to. They don't want even to understand what Islam is all about.
This is the
biggest problem. If they are well educated, they can make the choice for themselves, but they don't want to be educated. You're just going to listen to whatever it is being told to them, and they will let it go.
I know it. Mark, we're out of time, unfortunately. Fascinating conversation. I want to hear more about that, but we got to go. ABC News is coming up next. We're just going to finish with Dr. Mark Christian from the Global Faith Institute. Get to their website, globalfaithinstitute.org. Mark, stay on the phone, and